Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar, Crew Tools for Production Coordinators, Getting Started, Adding and Managing Users, and Going Through RAP. My name is Natalie, and I'm on the marketing team here at SyncOnSet, and I have with me my colleague Rachel from the account management team, who will be leading you through today's tutorial. Before we jump into the demo, I just want to let everyone know that to accommodate for social distancing, we are running these webinars from remote locations, so please excuse any delays or unexpected interruptions. Now let's go through what we're going to cover today. Today's webinar is designed for production coordinators who are new to using SyncOnSet Crew Tools, and we will cover navigating the web application, assigning department heads and adding users, wrap reports, and we'll recap some best practices and touch on how you can get in touch with our support team. Now, while Rachel will be walking you through today's webinar, I will be monitoring for any submitted questions, so please feel free to write in with questions as you think of them, and we will try to answer questions at the end. You can do that by using the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen. Once we finished with today's webinar, we will send you a copy of today's recording along with a feedback survey and links to some help articles in our FAQ page. And there are also some recordings of past webinars in case you may have missed anything. So please make sure to check out all of those resources. And that can all be found on our support site, support.synconset.com. Now I'm going to pass things over to Rachel, and she's going to get started with the demo.
Thanks, Natalie. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. As Natalie mentioned, my name's Rachel, and I'll be walking us through a brief demo of Crew Tools for our production coordinators. So this will cover everything you need to know as your next project gets started. So today we'll discuss how to navigate through the website so you can just jump right in and start adding your team. We'll also dive into the various permission levels available for each user, as well as how to pull reports at RAP. So to kick off the demo portion, I'll go ahead and switch gears and jump into SyncOnSet. Awesome. So I want to start on just our website, synconset.com, to show everyone how you can just log in. And if you're a new user, you can always click register to create a username and password. Otherwise, if you're a returning user, you can go ahead and just click login. So this, I think, saved my user credentials, but normally you would add in your email address for your username and then the password that you create. There is a forgot password link if you guys ever need to use that. We send you an email really quickly. But this jumps us right into the My Productions page. Now, this is where you'll be able to see all of the productions you have on your account today. And this is organized by production type. So you can either use the Features tab to jump into your feature or the Episodics tab. Each of the episodes will be hyperlinked and is what we can click to jump into our production account. So I will just use this demo sample Silicon Valley account for today's demo. And when we click that hyperlink, we're brought in right to the scene index. So this is essentially where the crew will come in and start breaking down their scripts. But I want to point out the production title at the top of the page. If you notice that this is hyperlinked as well, and if we click that production title, we're going to be brought to the production homepage. So this is where you can come to get a snapshot of what's going on as far as account activity, as well as subscription details. And then using the ellipsis icon off to the right-hand side, we can always add an episode here or upload a new script from this icon, as well as edit any of the episode titles or even the production title if that gets renamed midway through the project. Now, as production owner, you are the only person with permission to assign department heads or add the department heads to the account. So let's jump over to the production access menu and show you how you can add in the rest of the team. This is simply just the icon in the top right-hand corner, the little plus person that says add users when you hover over it. And again, we're brought into that production access menu. And if you're the production owner, your name will be at the top of the page. And then there will be a box beneath for each of the departments that have access to the account. So to add a department head, you would simply just click the icon within the box. Because all of my department heads are added, we would be able to just click this icon to change them at any time. Otherwise, if you're jumping in new for the first time, this icon would just simply say add department head. But if we go ahead and click this icon, we would just go ahead and add in their email for the new user and then click next. This would go ahead and trigger an email invite to your new department head, so then they can have immediate access granted to the production and be able to come in and add their team as well. So by default, department heads will always have the ability to add users to their account. Secondly, you'll notice that there's a blue details box beneath every department. So if I clicked into this box, I am able to actually see the user permissions for every person on that team. These are going to be editable by the pencil icon off to the right-hand side. And if you do need to make those edits to an individual user, you can always just switch yourself as the department head. So I'll just do a quick run through of that really quick. And if I just went and changed Candace to myself as the department head, and I'll keep her on the team for now. But then if I clicked into that details icon, I'll now see a pencil icon to the right of everyone's name. And this is where we'd be able to jump in and edit anyone's individual permissions. So just a quick run through of what permission levels we do have available for each user. The read-only is a great way for departments to get just read-only access to other continuity photos and notes. So for productions that might have like hair and makeup working simultaneously together, or props and set deck, this is often really popular if they want to be able to just see the notes that those teams are taking without having the ability to edit any of that information. Edit scenes and characters is going to give that user the ability to edit scene information as well as character information. So a great example of this being utilized is if you wanted to perhaps designate one person on the production to have the ability to enter new scripts, update schedules, handle revisions, etc., things like that. You could just toggle this to yes for just that one person on the account. And then the following would just be to add users. So giving that person the ability to add people to the account within that department, as well as view the research gallery and any contact information that's added to the account. And then once you click save, that'll update automatically. And then just jumping back to that production access menu, I know a lot of times towards the end of the production, near wrap, production coordinators usually need to transfer that production ownership to maybe someone else within the department or perhaps a studio contact. If that's the case, you can always just click change owner, add in the email address for the new production owner, and then click save, and that will just send them the invite and give them full access to the account. So now that we know how to manage the team and really get them started, let's cover how to generate those wrap reports. Now, typically this is something that the department heads will generate and send at wrap. However, if you're in a pinch and need to pull these reports yourself, you can always temporarily add yourself in as the department head. And then you'll notice that when we did do that earlier, I now have this reports option in my top gray navigation bar. So you could simply change yourself to the department head, jump into the reports tab to generate any of the information you're looking for, and then just go ahead and change it back to the original department head. So I had Candace originally here. I'll go ahead and save that. And so it's really easy to be able to jump in, grab reports when needed, and then switch that department head ownership to the previous person. And that does conclude the demo portion of today's walkthrough. So I will go jump back into our deck and just do a quick recap of what we covered today. So just a friendly reminder that the production homepage is going to be located just by clicking the title of the production that's at the very top of the page. That's going to be where you can see the account activity as well as subscription details, edit any of the production titles, episode titles, as well as add new scripts. Secondly, all users can be added from the production access menu. Again, that's just that little plus person icon in the top right-hand corner of the page, and you can go in there to add department heads, add users, or update individual user permissions. And lastly, again, from that production access menu, you can definitely go ahead and transfer production ownership at any time if there's another person from the studio that needs access to the account. And then last but not least, I definitely recommend bookmarking our help center. It has some great resources for those who are just getting up and running with Crew Tools. And I think we'll go ahead and see if there are any questions in the queue. I know we had some coming in during the demo portion.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. So we are about to get started with the Q&A section of this webinar. So if you could just give us a few minutes, we're going to allow people to take a few more minutes to write in with any last questions, and then we will get started. All right, everyone, thank you for submitting your questions. We're going to go ahead and get started with Q&A. So the first one that I want to touch on is a question that someone wrote in about how, the stay-at-home orders are affecting the industry and how we can go about being safe and make sure that all of our teammates are aware of resources that can keep them safe. So I just want to touch on the fact that, production companies and studios are really working hard right now to come up with solutions to get everyone back to work as quickly as possible, and definitely focusing on digital resources that don't involve, printing or handling anything, and can allow people to safely social distance and still work is a priority. And we are definitely in communication with all the major studios about making sure that they're aware of digital solutions that we offer, as well as our parent company. We recently became part of Entertainment Partners, and they have a wide variety of digital solutions that they offer as well. So if anyone is interested in joining additional webinars that might be able to shed some more light on how the industry is handling this crisis and our kind of stay-at-home orders, I encourage you to go over to theproductioncommunity.com. That is EP's entertainment partners community, where people can go and register to attend webinars about all of the different products, as well as just industry information about how everything is being handled. And I can include a link to that in the follow-up that we send out with the recording of this webinar. They are offering a few webinars each week, and there's also a library of pre-recorded or past recordings of webinars that you might find useful. And again, that is theproductioncommunity, all one word.com. So now we're going to jump into the rest of the Q&A bank. So I'm going to let Rachel take over a couple of these.
Awesome. Thanks, Natalie. So thanks everybody for submitting some questions in the queue. We've got a lot of great a lot of great questions. I think the one we're getting a lot of is, can we have more than one production owner? If there are multiple production owners or an APOC, how can we handle that in Crew Tools? So I want to actually share my screen again to the production access menu we were just visiting. And again, you can jump right into this by clicking the plus person icon in the top right-hand corner. As I mentioned, right now, from like a technical feasibility standpoint, there is only option for having one production owner. With that said, there's kind of two options to be able to give more people access if there are an APOC or more people on the production team that need to have transparency. You can change this to anybody at any time. So if I needed to change this to Natalie for the next week because I'm out on vacation, and then she needs to change it back the following week, there is no limit to how many times you can transfer production ownership. The other option too that we do see quite a bit, if there are two people within the production department that need access to Crew Tools, you could have one person as the production owner, and then you could always add the other person to the departments as just an actual user. So if you wanted to do that, you could just have the department head go ahead and add that production contact just as a general department user. And then that person would have full access to the entire account, continuity photos, reports, any information that they would need. So that's always just a great option if there are more than one person that needs to have access to Crew Tools during the project. Let's see, another question that we got here is if my production is using Crew Tools for all department heads and the crew who have never used it before, what are their options for learning the system? So if you're just jumping in and you don't feel like you want to train your entire crew on how to work with Crew Tools, that's totally fine. You certainly don't need to. You can definitely reach out to us. We have webinars that we're doing right now to kind of help cover different workflows of each department. Again, that support center or that help center with a lot of articles that we have about the workflows, as well as account managers and our amazing support team. We're always available to help answer questions along the way. Another great question that just came in. What if a department head leaves mid-production? Will I be able to give access to the new department head? Quick answer to this is absolutely. So we know that there's a lot of changes that might happen throughout a project. If that's the case, you can always just change the department head to somebody else. So again, just clicking that change icon, entering that new user. And then, for example, maybe Natalie left the production, and I will just use Candace again for this example, and we wanted to add in a new department head. When I click next, it's going to ask me if I want to keep Natalie in the department just as a regular user, or if I want to remove her fully from the production. So you're going to have that option should the scenario come up, where we would then just go ahead and if Natalie was off the production, we could just go ahead and say remove, and the new department head would now be added. So great question so far. Another really good question that just came in is what happens if we need to access this account after wrap? So if that is the case, Crew Tools Productions, they will move into an archive or kind of a need-only, read-only mode. So you'll still be able to access all the photos, reports, information that the crew has added, but they won't be able to make any edits to the scenes or any of the information that's already been archived. Another question that we have is about reshoots. So if there are reshoots or temporary crew members, can they be added to some episodes of the season, but not the others? Great. I want to walk through here as a visual, because if this is the case and you have people coming on for part of the production, again, beneath each department box, you have that details icon that will go ahead and jump into the actual user permissions for each person in the team. And then you'll also have an episode access icon as well. So let's say Kevin didn't necessarily need to be in 102. We just have him on for episode 1. So you can always just click that episode access icon and then select or deselect the episodes that they'll be working on. I think this one's pretty timely. What happens when a pilot gets picked up to a series? Will we be able to work from the pilot production account, or do we need to start a new Crew Tools account? So the answer here would be that if a pilot is picked up to series, you can choose to work or continue working in the account that you created for the pilot. Otherwise, you can definitely create a new production account for the season and just start from scratch. If you end up doing that, you'll always be able to access the separate pilot account for reference, as well as for continuity photos and notes. think this is also a question we get quite a bit. Whether or not the production coordinators are on the hook for uploading scripts or if they are required to do so in Crew Tools. So that is by no means the case. If you are a production owner, you can absolutely have somebody else handle the script uploads. But however, while it isn't the responsibility of the production coordinator to essentially upload every script and manage that process for the crew, we do strongly recommend that it is just one single person that is overseeing that for the team. And that just helps ensure that there's no confusion amongst the crew, and they kind of know that if revision comes through or if scheduling updates come through, that those are being handled and taken care of and updated accurately. So again, if you do go ahead and manage, just have one person manage that information, that is going to be a permission setting. Again, just by clicking that pencil icon off to the right-hand side, you can just toggle on or yes to editing scenes and characters. And I think that might be all of the questions that we have for today. If you guys do have any additional questions, I know Natalie's going to cover where you can reach out for additional support.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you to everyone who wrote in with questions. If for some reason we didn't get to your question, or if you think of another question, please feel free to reach out to us. We are always available. You can go to our website and send us a chat while you're logged in. You'll see a little icon at the bottom right of the screen. You can always email us at support@synconset.com, or you can give us a call. Our support hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also, we will be sending out some additional information following this webinar. So please stay tuned for that because we will have more answers and more resources available if you need them. And thank you to everyone for taking the time to join us for the webinar today. We truly appreciate your support, and we hope that it was very informative and that you guys are ready to go. So if you wouldn't mind taking the feedback survey that will pop up following this webinar, we would love to know how we did and if there's anything that you would suggest that we could do better in the future. And please be sure to visit our help site, support.synconset.com. We make announcements about upcoming webinars, and we try to run a few every month. So we would love it if you could join us for future webinars and continue to learn about SyncOnSet Crew Tools. And we hope everyone is safe and happy and enjoys the rest of your day.